Hi guys, it's Aoife from Fred We Died Laughing, and I'm here today to give you some of what I think are some underrated fantasy books for the Booktube SFF Awards. And this is obviously an awards that are happening on the Booktube community, and as well there was a Goodreads group with certain discussions, and I decided that I would try and make a video of this week's discussion, which is underrated fantasy books. So I have a few different books I want to talk about today, and I will start off by talking about the Lowtown trilogy by Daniel Polanski. I have the second book here, Tomorrow the Killing, which I got from the library, but the first one is called Straight Razor Cure, and it is basically about this guy who's living in this place called Lowtown. He is a guard. I think he's either an ex-soldier or kind of an ex-assassin or something like that, but all these children are being found mutilated, obviously dead. And he has to try and figure out what is going on, and there's just a little bit of a mystery surrounding it. And then there's also this wizard who is kind of in charge of looking after this town, and he kind of has a connection with this wizard, and you see kind of some of this guy's backstory as well while he's trying to figure out all these murders. And it's just really, really good. I really enjoyed it. It's been a while since I read the first one. It's been about a year and a half, and I finally managed to get the second one from the library, so I'm looking forward to delving back into it myself. But I will say that it is a pretty good fantasy series, especially for people who probably like The Lies of Loch Lamora by Scott Lynch. It's pretty good, and I would recommend it. The next book I want to talk about is one of my new favourite fantasy series, and it is The Copper Promise by Jen Williams. I have the third book in my hands at the moment, The Silver Tide, but the first one is called The Copper Promise. And these are books about these three mercenaries. There is Wydrin, Sebastian, and then there is Frith, who's also a lord. And it's basically how Frith finds Wydrin and Sebastian, and they go on this mission to try and go to these kind of old ruins where a god is apparently buried or trapped. And they end up releasing this god onto the world by accident completely. They didn't mean to do it, but they end up releasing this god and this really horrible evil onto the world, and they basically have to try and figure out how to fix it. And it's really good. So far with every book in this series, you've been able to see different parts of the world and different people in different parts of the world, and it's been really interesting so far, and I can't wait to keep reading to see what the next book has in store. And I would really urge people to pick up The Copper Promise because it was absolutely brilliant. I enjoyed it so much, and I think everyone should be reading it because it's absolutely brilliant. Another favourite fantasy series of mine is The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne. Again, I'm going to hold up a third book in the series, which is Ruin, which I also got from the library, but the first one is called Malice. This book series is centred around a place called the Banished Lands, and there's this kind of weird prophecy around this land and how there's going to be someone who's going to kind of be the saviour. He's kind of going to be the embodiment of a god, and then there's also going to be someone who's really bad, who's going to be kind of the embodiment of the bad god. And it's kind of figuring out who is who. And you're getting loads of different POVs in this, a little bit like Game of Thrones. There's loads of different people from all over the Banished Lands, and you're getting the story from literally every corner of the land and what is going on, and it's really interesting. I really enjoyed it. It's kind of one of those books that you're always reading in fear of someone dying, because you know that John Gwynne isn't afraid of killing off main characters, so it's kind of those things that you're really kind of on the edge of your seat with. I really love it, and I would really recommend it to people who are looking to pick up a high fantasy series. Another book I love is Firethorn by Sarah Mifflin. This is a book about a girl called Firethorn who was, through certain circumstances, she lived in a wood for a year, and she believes that she has been kind of blessed by the gods with these abilities. She's able to heal people using her skills within, herbs and berries and just kind of old kind of recipes basically. And she ends up falling in love with this man who is a knight, and she goes with him to, they are travelling to go to war, and she basically follows him. She goes on with his party, she kind of becomes his concubine, and she ends up like kind of connecting with all these other women on the road, and she starts kind of looking after them and teaching them how to look after themselves and different things like, giving the prostitutes that are on the road the means where they won't become pregnant. And it's just really interesting. It's kind of this one where this girl is within this age where, she could be completely under the control of this man, but she's not really. She kind of makes her own path for herself, while at the same time she is following the path of a man. She's also making a path for herself, and it's just really, really good. It's kind of hard to explain because at the same time she's just kind of like a concubine. She is a mistress. She's not really anything really, really, really important, but at the same time she kind of has this sway over a lot of people. And I don't know, there's just something about this book that I really love, and I can't even really explain why I love it so much. I just do. There is a second book in this series called Wildfire. There's supposed to be a third, but I don't think the third is coming. It's been a very, very long time and there's no sign of a third book. So I would tell people to just read the first one because the second one isn't really good. I didn't really enjoy the second one, but I really love this one. And I would tell people just to give it a chance, even get it from the library. But I really enjoyed it. It's just one of those kind of guilty pleasure reads for me anyway. The next book I want to talk about is The Magician's Apprentice by Trudi Canavan. This is the prequel to the Black Magician trilogy and the Traitor Spy trilogy, and I thought it was really, really good. It basically tells the time of before the Magicians Guild even existed, and where all magicians were only men, there was no female magicians. And this girl, she is kind of wants to be a doctor. She ends up showing that she can be a magician, and she ends up becoming an apprentice, and no one kind of really realizes that the women can be magicians. And she also starts thinking about, you know, healing magic and how there should be kind of a school of magicians, and she starts kind of putting all these things in motion where there could be, you know, like different ways magic is used to help kind of the poorer class of people. And it's just really, really interesting. I really, really loved it, and I think if anyone likes the Black Magician trilogy by Trudi Canavan, they would really love this prequel as well, because there's so much kind of in it that shows how the Magicians Guild came about. And it's just really good. I love Trudi Canavan's writing. She's just an excellent writer, and I really need to get onto her new series because I have the first book and I still haven't read it. So yeah, that's one I have to read too. So they are some fantasy books that I think people should be reading that I don't see enough people reading. I think they're completely underrated. I really love them. I hope people check them out. Please let me know any fantasy books that you love that you think I should check out below in comments. And thank you for watching. I will see you guys again next time.